Welcome to Make It Now with Linda Lang. Today I'm going to show you how to do something quite interesting and quite fun. Now I've done hundreds of journals and different styles and methods, but this is by far the easiest. And I am going to link down below the lady that I learned this from. And so I wanted to bring it to your attention as well. But it's just amazing how this is the most amazing book. And not only that, it lays flat. Everything lays flat. And when you're writing, isn't it nice to have it laying flat? Now what I did with this book is I made tea dye paper. You can use tea dye paper or just use regular copy paper. Doesn't matter. I just happened to make a stack and I'm using it for these books. It just makes it look more vintage. You make the cover, you have the side, and it opens. And you don't have any sewing at all. It's all glue. So I'm going to show you how to make this. Of course, it's made with some material on the side. So there's a couple of things you need to do to get started. First of all, you got to get your paper. So we can use the regular paper, or we can use my tea dye paper. And tea dye paper is so easy to make. My husband comes in and laughs because he sees it all over the floor. I put it on top of the tablecloth with the plastic liner on it so that it doesn't get onto the floor. And I let it dry overnight. So I've got my paper and it's just so beautifully made. Or I've also made many, many journals with just regular typing paper. And there's also other papers you can use. You can use book pages or maps. You can get creative on your paper usage. So in order to make the inside of this book, you'll notice that in this book, it's got some really cool pages in here. Let me show you. See this? This and this side. There's actually no sewing in this book. Check this out. Look at that. Look at that spine. You can actually open it all the way up. It's just amazing. So nice. I don't know how many pages are in here, but there's plenty to write. And this would be great for somebody for Christmas. We're going to make this one today because I'm going to use the same fabric on the edge. What I did was I pulled out some paper. This is lightweight paper that I got from a 12 by 12 binder thingy that you buy at Michael's or something. But you want something pretty colorful to be like the cover of each signature, and I'll explain as we go. What I like about using this size paper is that this is the size of the book. You do not have to cut it down. All you do is you fold the paper in half, exactly in half. And that's going to be the size of your journal. I'm going to make one signature and then I'll make the others off camera. The next thing you want to do is you want to get your cover paper. This is a little bit more of a cardstock. And this is the spine I'm going to use, just a piece of material. Not a big deal, just a piece of material. In order to make this nice hard cover, I use cereal boxes. I'm going to show you how to make a nice cover. I have a granola box and I have something that I had already. It's just hard. It's just nice. You can use chipboard. You can use other kinds of hard cardboard. But let's say you only have a cereal box and it's really not real strong. It's a little flimsy. And what you do with the cereal box is you take the front and the back and you glue it together, shiny side together, so that the brown is on the outside. So I'll do that when we get to the stage of making our cover. It's actually nice to have a cutter. Maybe somebody has a guillotine cutter or you have an you know, this thing right here, X-Acto knife with a ruler. You can do that. Whatever comfortable for you. The other thing you want to keep in mind is how to fold this paper. If it's tough to fold this way and easier to fold this way, this is the way you want to fold it, okay? You want to fold it along the grain. But this one, you want to fold with the color side inside. Yeah, you do. Fold that right in half, like that. And I'm going to do this 5 times. So I have 5 of these, and I'm just going to take my bone folder and just kind of make a crease. Just like to have it a little bit more creasy. It helps in the long run. Okay, so I have 5 of these. Now what you want to do is size up your paper to this. I've noticed that it's a little bit bigger here on the sides on this paper. So I have to cut it to the size of my pages. So I'm going to cut here and I'm going to cut here, right, on all these covers. So I'll do one and then I'll show you the rest when I am done. This first one I'm going to show you how I do it, and I like to use this cutting mat on the bottom because there's grid on it. So I line them up on there. I'm going to do one at a time. I line it up on the grid. I take this, line it up along with it. And I have a pencil, and I'm just going to mark where I need to cut, like that. You can use a ruler, line it up with your grid, use a long metal ruler, and use your X-Acto knife. And cut. Or you can use your paper cutter. By the way, hold on to these because we do stuff with these later on another project. Then I cut this way. Make sure it's even. And I cut this. Also, you want to save this. Okay, so now I have one of my covers. And of course, it's on the inside. Make sure you have the color on the inside because you're not going to see this at all. You can draw pictures, you can write lines, whatever. You're not going to see it, okay? So then what you do is you take one of these. I'm going to do 5 of them, but I'm going to show you how to do one. And I put one inside here. I got one paper there. I have another one, 2. I'll fold this one in half. 3, and you can make them as big as you want. I only put 4 pages in there because with the cover it makes 5. Okay, so then I just put it together like this and set it aside and make my other 4. Okay, now I have all of my 5 signatures ready to go. Look how pretty this is. Isn't that nice? I just love it. There are different methods in putting these together because you want to make them each individual. And you can use the pamphlet stitch that takes a thread and string, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to use a stapler. Hey, it works perfectly. Now, I happen to have this wonderful monster. It's a wonderful staple because it gives me lots of room. If you don't have one, you can still use a regular stapler. You just open it up and then staple it down, and then you just have to push the little backs together. I'm not going to show you how to do that. You can figure that out yourself. But what I am going to use is my long arm stapler. I did invest into this a long time ago, and it was one of those things that I'm glad I did because it allows me to do lots and lots of things. Okay, so I open it up, make sure it's all nice and tight. And I put the stapler right in the crease of it. Make sure it's right at the crease of it. And another one. Okay, so I have 2 right in the crease. Do the best you can. If it gets off a little bit, and if it's way off, definitely take it out. But if it's over a little bit, not a big deal. So we do all of these the same. Open this up to the middle. Make sure it's nice and tight in there. One there. And one there. Oh, that didn't work so good. See, you can just pull that one out. If they don't work well, oh, that one didn't work either. Let's try it again. There. Now, that was the easiest form of binding I've ever done. I've done some crazy bindings. Now, that was the easiest. So the next thing you do is you want to put these all together. Okay, make a book out of it. So the reason why you folded the color on the inside was because now, look, isn't that pretty how you open it up and you've got this on the inside? What you do now is you take the next book, you take this front page and glue it to this page, just like that. I don't want any glue to get on my other pages, so I kind of keep it open a little bit. It lays flat anyway, right? But the one thing you do not do, and I messed up right here, what you don't want to do is you do not want to glue about 1/2 inch in all the way down. You want to leave this open. So you put the glue about 1/2 inch in and all the way around, and you can put the glue in the middle too if you'd like to. You want to make sure that the corners have glue on them for sure. So I make sure that at least, because the edges are real important. Then I'll take this piece and open up the back of another one so that they glue together, and I put them together at the tops of each page. Make it, squish it all the way down. Make sure that it's completely together at the top of that page. Then I open it up and then just kind of flatten it down. Let it dry. So now I have these 2 together. And this is the middle. And it glued these 2 together. And I'll do the same thing for the next book. It's easy to try to go all the way to the edge there, but do not. And then you take this piece and marry it to this piece. Make sure that the tops are together. Everything is together. Makes one page, front and back. Open it up and just glue it down. Now, if it's directional and you have directional prints, you make sure you're working from the top to the bottom. Mine aren't directional. I can go any way I want. So I can do this way or this way or this way. So then I take my next one and do the same thing. Oop. You want to leave that spine area because you'll see why when we get it all done. Take this piece, marry it to this piece, make sure that they slide together. You might have to mess with it a little bit to get it right on, like this one. not so concerned because I have a little bit of this white showing on the bottom. I'm not worried about that at all. Make sure we open the book up to where it needs to go like this. And we got one more to do. Okay, look at that. Got them all down. There's a little bit of an accordion effect here. That's good. And you open it up, and this is your journal. We have just finished doing our signatures. That's all there is to doing that piece. Now the next thing we're going to do is make the cover. Like I said earlier, I use a cereal box. So what I need to do is just open up the ends. I need to make sure that I use the front and the back. Open this up. Yeah. Just kind of want to get it away from it. Oh, look what I found. Now, this is good to use. We can use this for other projects. So hold on to those insides of your cereal box. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these edges off. Get them out of the way. Now, I don't throw these away because I use them for my circle punches. So I can make lots of circles and I make divots with them. Oh, anyway, that's a whole nother project. So I don't waste anything. I do throw stuff away, I have to say I do, but I always have my mind thinking on what I can do next. Okay, so I have these two. Now, I can just cover it like it is and not worry about it, but I want it a little thicker. So I'm going to glue these together, and you do shiny sides together. It'll be a very nice, thick cover, won't it? So I'm going to glue these together, and I'll be right back. I glued these two together, let it sit for about 15 minutes, so it's nice and hard now. Now it's as hard as this one. Again, it depends on what you want to use for your front and your back cover. So now we have these two pieces of cardboard. This is for my front and back. I'm going to set those aside for a moment. The next thing you want to do is your spine. So I'm just going to square this off with my grid underneath it. And the top. Okay, this is straight now since I cut that. Now I want to make sure that this is straight on the side. Just at least on both sides, because you're going to cut the other parts off. Let's see, I got to have it straight here and straight here. Now I take my book and set it on top. And I want the spine to look, to peek out of it. For example, like here. See, it's peeking out. And I'm going to just put it on here. And I like my cover to be a little bit bigger than the whole thing. Just a teeny bit, not much. So I'm just going to set it up here, line it up there, and I'm going to mark it down here. I'll probably push it over a little bit so that you can see what you're doing. And then you just mark it like that. Okay? Then you mark it like that. And then you're going to want to mark this way. So I go down a little bit at the top so that I can see the edge. And then I go here, like that. So that's going to be my front and back cover design. So I'm going to go ahead and corner this off and cut this down. And then of course corner it off and cut this piece off at the bottom. All right, let's take a look. Perfect. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, now I want to do one for the back. It's a little easier on the second piece because all I have to do is pretty much draw the square. And now, of course, I'll just cut it. So I should have two squares exactly the same size. And I do. It's pretty close. So there we go. Now we're going to prepare the cover. I just use a piece of cardstock. It's not real heavy, but it's not real thin either. And I really like this design. And I'm going to turn it over for the white side to show up, or the wrong side, whatever that is for you. And I'm going to lay these two down like this. Because I believe this one square will take care of my front and back cover. So now, I'm going to cut it in half. Now simply glue, just put a little glue, not much. Okay, because we're going to fold in the edges around it and encase that piece of cardboard. I'll do the same thing on this one. Doesn't have to be all the way to the edge. It's just a place to position that piece right on top. Okay, what I'm going to do is let that dry for a couple of minutes and I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and do one of these, and then I'm going to do the other one off camera. So I want to make sure that I don't have a lot of paper. And now cut the corners. Leave a little bit at the corner because you're going to tuck that in. And then, so that it's nice and folded, just kind of do this around the edge. Makes it easier to fold it in when you go to glue it. Okay, I'm going to glue this part first. If you want to go faster and not wait for it to dry, before you move on to the next step, you can use two-sided tape. I never have. I don't even have any, so I don't. You can either put it on the flap or you can put it on the back board, and I do it on either side, depending on how I feel for the moment. Okay, so that do both ends. And now it's time to do the sides. I do a little bit of extra of glue, a teeny bit of drop in these corners because you want to push it in a little bit like that. Push it in a little bit like that. And then fold this over and glue it down. This gets a little harder. If it's a short piece of edging, you're going to have to hold it a little bit better because it wants to pop up. Two-sided tape would be nice. You can actually use masking tape right here if you want, because you're not going to see the inside of this. So this keeps popping up right here. So I'm going to make sure that that stays down. Okay, like that. Now I'll do the other side. I'm going to push the corners in just a little bit on each side. Kind of rounds off the corners as well. And then glue this down. It's going to take a second because I didn't use two-sided tape, so I have to hold it for a minute. Now what I do is I take this and just set it down, and I put a book on top of it. I use my books. It goes right on top. Now I'm going to do the other one, and I'll be right back. Okay, this is the front cover. Now we're just going to simply glue it on top of here. Make sure it's got all the glue all the way around the edge. I use white glue. This is Eileen's. You can also use art glitter glue. A lot of people use art glitter glue. It glues everything. So, you know, it's up to you how you want to do it. Now I'm going to put it right on top of this page. I don't want it to glue to the other pages. So I kind of open it up a little bit, and then I stick it right on top of that page and make sure all my corners are doing well. Okay, I don't want to go too far top. I don't want to go too far bottom. I don't want to go too far on the side. Okay, there we go. You want to make sure it's really glued along these edges. That's why it's important to put the glue all the way to the edge. Now, one thing you want to do, and it might take a little extra time, is to let this dry before you do the back, because you want to make sure it's glued down really well. And again, this is material, so you need to make sure you have glue that glues material, and I believe art glitter glue does do that. I want to make sure it's down. If you don't, then you're going to use the permanent fabric glue here along this side, and then also the other glue. So you want to use two glues. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to open it up. Make sure all my pages aren't stuck to it. And you want to let it glue or dry in this fashion, just like this. I don't know if I want to put something here. And then I want to put something heavy on top of this. So that's my heavy thing. You can put a book on it, however you want to do it. Just make sure it's all stayed glued, and you want to let that dry for at least 15 to 20 minutes, maybe even an hour before you do the back. I'll be right back. I will take this off here, and that front is done. Now let's do the back. Glue it the same way you did the front, all the way to the edge. You can use a paintbrush to make sure it gets full. You can do that too. And again, because I'm using material on this side, I want to make sure this is up and down. I'm going to use my extra glue for my material because it'll stick better as long as I have a little bit of this glue on the material side as well. Okay, so then I just put it on here. Make sure it's just on that back piece. Make sure that it's over the way I want it. And there we go. And squish it down. I'm going to use this to hold this down. that. So you can, you know, make sure everything's glued down on both sides. You can put books on both sides and let it sit. So we're going to let that sit, and I'll be right back to finish it up with you. Okay, so I've let it dry. I've got this side down, and now let's see what it looks like. That's what my journal looks like now. Look at all the pages open, and I go through and make sure all my pages are not stuck together. That looks good, it looks good. Okay. Now look, it opens up flat. I mean, this is the easiest journal in the world to make. Now you can enhance it, you can add stuff on the pages, you can add your trinkets or whatever you want to put on it. Or you can just leave it like this. Now, this particular one has this little emblem in the middle. I really like it. It talks about Paris. And I don't think I need to put a book plate on it. If I used a plain cover, then I put a book plate on it. This one, plain cover, pretty light, and I added this book plate on it. You know, it's up to you how you want to do it. I like it like this, but I am going to do something extra here. I want to make sure that it looks a little bit antique, so I'm going to, and I should have done it before I glued it down, but I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of this. Yeah, doesn't it add just a little bit more contrast? Same thing with the back. Yeah, I should have inked it before I glued it, but oh well. You know what? You just work with what you got. Okay. And one thing I want to make sure that I have done is I made sure that my glue is all the way to the edge. I don't want this lifting at all. So I want to make sure that it stays nice and flat for as long as possible. So I'm going to leave it like this as I'm done with it. And put it down like this. I didn't put any closures on them. You see, I didn't put any closures. Because when you have a closure, it's like you got to undo it. You know, this way I can just open it and write and open it and write. So, make it now with Linda Lang.